Hello, everybody, and welcome to the ERSCA Belly Up Sports Series for race number 4 of the ERSCA playoffs. It's the Chairgating 200 at Atlanta. Dom Santina alongside David Westergreen and, of course, Carlos Acosta and 3 Wide TV producing our race here tonight. David, how you doing tonight?
You doing good, Dom? Ready for a little ERSCA action? How are you doing?
Pretty good. Closing in on the halfway point here of the playoffs. Not many races left to go here in the season. It's going to be interesting how things shake out here again tonight.
Let's not forget Talladega looming next week. So Atlanta's going to be where a lot of these guys want to pick up some valuable points. Right now, the point standings as a whole are very, very close. If we can get that graphic up, I don't even know if we have it on, but I believe Tate Lytle's points lead is 2 points over Nick Massey after Massey's win last week at Nashville.
Yeah, the big kind of 3, maybe you could make a case for the top 4. Massey, 2 points back. Scott, 8 points back. 10 points separating, or 8 points separating those top 3. And then Cameron Rich, who's had a couple solid runs here of late, 28 points back. And then Nick and Delicato, 41. Ethan Burrell, 60, and so on through the rest of our playoff field.
I would wager that we're down to 5 contenders for the championship. I think Ethan Burrell's going to need to go on a heater here and start to win some races if he wants any hope of climbing back into this playoff picture. As it is, the top 5 has really separated themselves, and we've seen just a little bit of trouble with Nick and Delicato getting into, I think, Josh Adams last week, and then also having an incident at week before at Iowa, where that really has set Nick and Delicato back when he was one of the top 3 in the regular season. He has now kind of fallen to almost a full race behind his championship contenders.
Yeah, absolutely. And while he's going to have to step it up and run solid with the way these other 4 are running. But, of course, as you said, David, Talladega looming here, so anything can happen there that could put him right back in the championship hunt for sure.
And that's kind of the wild card here in the chase, thrown right in the middle. After Talladega, next week we'll have Richmond and then Homestead to close the season out. So a couple short track, 1.5 miles and 2.5 miles, and then the super speedway at Talladega to round out the ERSCA season. And then we will crown a champion. They'll get the big paycheck, and they'll get the honor of joining Nick Massey and Ryan Lutz as the 2 defending ERSCA champions. Those holding that title. I'm looking through the grid, and we're seeing a few new faces and a few familiar faces from days past. I see Chris Wright driving the 95 in replacement of Josh Adams today. He was a championship contender last year, I believe.
Some guys stepping in. Also, today is the maybe nervous day for Tate Lytle. Looks like his connection's holding up just fine so far through his practice session.
I believe it's a hotel. Being in the hotel room would cause any additional distraction. Tate's not quite at the top of the board here in practice, but he might not be particularly pushing it. We haven't discussed the track. This is old Atlanta before the repave this spring. This is back when Atlanta used to have 4 or 5 grooves, lots of wide open ability to race the top and the bottom, ton of tire wear. And so I think we're going to be seeing these guys battle these Xfinity cars all throughout the day today, because they have not run this old Atlanta with this Xfinity car. They had a race in Atlanta earlier this season with the COT.
All right, so our practice session has concluded. Last week's pole setter, Matthew Bayuk, sits atop the charts. We'll see if he can carry that into our qualifying session. Go back-to-back here. Lead us to the green flag here at Atlanta.
You look into kind of how Matthew Bayuk's race went last week, and I fear a little bit if he's able to do the same kind of style of race, he might need to be a little more careful, because last week led the first 30 laps or so. Got tire wear, fell back into the clutches of the pack, and then was ultimately crashed into in that wild turn 3 sequence that took out a bunch of contenders. Number of cars jumping out on track early in this session. Track temp sitting at a balmy 130 degrees. Dylan Thomas, Dallas My Hand out early. Jared Mogart as well.
Tommy Scott's making his way onto the track as well, so we'll see if he can turn for some lap times.
I always watch some of those guys who are more, up front, strong qualifiers. Tate Lytle. I'll watch when Tate Lytle goes, because that's kind of when the optimal time it'll be to go. These guys are going to look for clouds covering at least a little portion of the track to try to set down a fast lap. They're going to wait, see what the time is that they need to beat. Kwame Scott stopped before the line. Looks like he's going to be able to get refired and go again. Andy Trupiano back with us. He's missed a couple of races. And I believe... Go ahead.
Jared Mogart, first one to register a time at a 31.86, puts him atop the charts for the moment. Just 2 cars have come through.
I think the cars are jumping loose on these guys off the corners, and that's why we're only seeing 2 cars having turned a lap thus far. That was Richard Lafferty before we jump over to Michael Goodman here. Lafferty back with us once again. Been a while since we've seen the 81 car. There we go, Joe Francis, top of the board, 31.84. They are way down from their practice laps. Matthew Bayuk was at a 31.4 in practice. Francis currently on pole with a 31.8. With the amount of tire wear kicking in, these guys are probably turning the fast lap on lap number 1.
Trupiano goes to 3rd quickest.
This is a pole threat right here, Nick Indelicato. And he's going to need a pole. He needs to lead laps and win stages if he wants a chance to get back into this hunt. 41 points back of Tate Lytle.
Ethan Burrell goes to the top with a 31.78. Right below him, Kwame Scott, 31.80. Puts them 1 and 2.
Wyatt Nadel runs a 31.81. He's 3rd right now. Tate Lytle is on the track, and that 56 car did a little blink there in 3 and 4.
Matthew Weeks improved his first lap time to his second lap time, a 31.83. Now he gets bumped down by Cameron Rich and Kwame Scott, along with Wesley Crump as well, who jump in there. Scott goes quick time, 31.77. Cameron Rich right there as well, and Wesley Crump jumps up to 3rd quickest with a 31.78.
These guys waiting till the end of the qualifying session to try to make these fast laps. Here comes Chris Wright in the 95. Good to see Chris back in the car. He was fighting for the championship last season with Ryan Lutz. And this guy, Nick Massey. Boy, man, if Massey sure would love to come out of here with another victory. He's been pretty strong of late, one of the top 3 cars for sure.
His teammates sitting on the pole right now.
Boss man Kyle Hanshaw. And here's maybe one of the preemptive pole favorites, Matthew Bayuk, won pole last week. And certainly might have an opportunity to win pole again today, given that he was fastest in practice.
Chris Wright just jumped up to 4th quickest. Meanwhile, Tate Lytle goes top of the charts with a 31.73.
Bayuk might be the only guy left who can trounce Tate. I believe this is going to be his fast lap right here. Ran the top all the way around. It was mid-pack for Matthew Bayuk.
Nick Massey slots in at 9th quickest.
I don't think top all the way around was the way to go. I think that bottom lane is going to be the dominant lane, but you will see guys being able to defend in the top lane during the race. I just don't think that that's going to be the lane that saves the tires and is ultimately the quickest over the long run. Aziz Andura does not get his lap in before time, and Tate Lytle wins the pole for the Chairgate 200 at Atlanta.
A lot of momentum on the side of that 56 car right now.
Tate Lytle, Kwame Scott sharing the front row, 2 of the top 3 in points. Their cohort Nick Massey sits 9th. Cameron Rich, the 4th man in points, sits 3rd. So 1, 3, and 4 in points, 1, 2, 3 in the race. Then it's Chris Wright upon return, Wesley Crump, Ethan Burrell, who needs a good run, Hank Steinmiller, who's a little bit under the weather tonight, Scott Crump, then Nick Massey and Wyatt Nadel round out the top 10.
Matthew Weeks, who's kind of put it together here of late in the playoffs, starts 11th. Looking through kind of rest of the group here.
Jared Mogart in 18th and Matthew Bayuk in 19th. That's the next group of chasers.
Yep.
Wow. Nick and Delicato qualified 27th.
Who's back there with Seth Rawls.
We should note, race notes from last week. We watched Rawls give the bumper to Jeff Green in turn 1 at Nashville. He was docked 20 points in the post-race review. And as we recall, I don't know that Jeff Green was the one that spun Seth Rawls originally.
No, he wasn't.
He got docked 20 points for spinning the wrong guy. What?
All right. All right.
Well, it's not that he got
to...
docked for spinning the wrong guy. It's he got docked and he spun the wrong guy.
Yes.
Do we want to make our picks?
It is that time.
David, since Carlos and I have already picked a winner here in the playoffs, we'll let you go first here this week.
I know. He doesn't want me to ever pick him, so I'm not going to pick Tate Lytle. He's the low-hanging fruit. I'm going to pick Ethan Burrell from 6th. He needs a win. He's won in Atlanta before. I'm going Ethan Burrell.
All right, Carlos, we'll let you go next.
Okay, well, believe it or not, he spoke to us last week and he said very clearly top 5s aren't going to cut it anymore, especially when his teammates are starting to outrun him. Tonight's pick for me is going to be Kwame Scott.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Here's where Cameron Rich wins.
All right. I won't go with Tate Lytle either. I'll go with my guy that got me to victory lane last week. I'm going to go with Nick Massey once again.
I like it. Tate likes it when we don't pick him. That's why we don't pick him. He's also flashing in and out, and that could pose problems if he ends up running close and side by side later on in this event.
But he has finished first, second, and second. So
yeah, definitely the high man on the totem pole to start this chase. But Nick Massey's 2 points behind him.
all right, we're ready to go green. Tate Lytle, Kwame Scott going to lead us to the green flag here at the Chairgate 200 at Atlanta. Hank Steinmiller going through the infield.
Wesley Crump spun his tires. Hank Steinmiller had nowhere to go, and Steinmiller will fall all the way to the back of the field. He was able to keep it off pit road. He won't need that black flag cleared, but Steinmiller will be way behind the pack. Wesley Crump also way behind after spinning those tires from 5th. And Tate Lytle sails away with the lead. No caution after that front stretch incident.
About a car and a half, maybe 2 from Lytle to Scott here as they come around to complete lap number 1. Cameron Rich trying to hang on with those 2 and make a 3-car breakaway ahead of Ethan Burrell, who slots himself into the 4th position.
Yeah, Ethan Burrell got a good start on that. He was the big gainer. The big loser was Chris Wright. Had to check back out of it, and we saw those tires spinning as now Kwame Scott's going to go for the lead. Those guys are going to have to watch out for that the entire race if we get any of those restarts. Kwame Scott's got the lead.
Tate Lytle does blink out there for a second. Something to just keep a note on. We'll try not to hit on it too much, but he did blink there as Kwame goes by. Nick Massey also had a good start too. He jumped up 2 spots up to the 7th position right off the start as well.
Snarling pack back at about 15th place. Matthew Bayuk's in the center of that. And up front, single file, this back group, they're looking to wreck. It's Bayuk outside of Hibbs. Joe Francis is in that group. So is Nick and Delicato. A couple of the more prominent chasers trying to make their way to the front. Delicato's already up 7 positions after just 1 lap, and he is really flying in the middle of the racetrack.
Definitely on the move, trying to weave his way through. We'll see how that works out if we get on a long green flag stretch here with tire wear. But right now, Delicato making the most of it. Right now, Ethan Burrell's jumped to the high side, looking to go around Cameron Rich for the 3rd position. Looks like he might have it. Scott Crump looking to take a peek. Move Rich back to 4th, Burrell up to 3rd, and now he's going to try to run down Tate Lytle for 2nd.
I'll tell you what, this old Atlanta in these Xfinity cars, you can feel like Superman. If you try out that outside lane one time, you can go around 4 or 5 cars all at once, just flying around them. Then those 4 or 5 cars will come right back past you because you used up all your tires. Ethan Burrell's choosing the aggressive route. That will not pay off for him in the long run. The high lane does burn your tires significantly more than the low lane, but it will allow for Ethan Burrell to challenge Tate Lytle right here, and it'll help him go after Kwame Scott for the lead.
Yep, Ethan Burrell into 2nd, and David, we've talked about it since the start. He may be aggressive because he knows he has to. We've hit on it multiple times as he dives to the inside here for the race lead to try to take it away from Kwame Scott.
That's exactly what he's doing. He knows it's time to go. He's got to get up here and battle with Tate, Kwame, and Cameron. He cannot let them pull away like they have been.
And Ethan Burrell, for the first time this playoffs, out front, leading the pack.
Here's the problem with what Ethan Burrell just did. He did a great job. He passed all 4 cars that were in front of him there, but he's going to pay for that if we go green. Going up to the high side like that just heats up those tires. Ethan feels like Superman for these first 10 laps, and then that car's going to fall off. These guys behind him who are not pushing it, they're riding the bottom. They're just going to stay in his draft. They're going to stick right with him. It's not quite the same as kind of that real-life racing where the fast car can just pull away on a track like this. No, these guys are going to be able to maintain right behind Ethan Burrell as long as they need to.
Scott Crump just made the pass on Cameron Rich for the 4th position. Rich will fall back to 5th. Wright is kind of the last car in this 6-car group, and then it's a pretty decent-sized gap back to Nick Massey in the 7th position.
Yeah, just had to check up kind of initially for that Hank Steinmiller and Wesley Crump incident, and it created that gap. And you've got Matthew Weeks right there, and not too far behind this group, you see Jared Mogart right here battling with James Heater. That's Nick Indelicato. He is up to 14th from 27th. Matthew Bayuk's up to 13th. He started 19th. So the 2 of those guys, and then Seth Rawls is up to 15th. He started 29th. Those Shift Esports Fords have worked together, I believe, in the top lane to find a way up towards the front. Kind of mitigate those bad qualifying runs. Burrell. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So Burrell's not running the fastest laps anymore. He's starting to pay the price already for those big moves on fresh tires.
I was just going to say some other battles back here in the pack. Matthew Weeks battling with Garen Turner, James Heater in that mix as well, and Jared Mogart. That's for just outside the top, actually just at the top 10. 9th, 10th, 11th is where they're battling.
Garen Turner shot up into 8th. He's had a good run so far to start this race. James Heater is well inside the top 10, but the ones I've got my eye on coming through the field there are those Shift Fords. Bayuk's right on the back bumper to Jared Mogart now. Though Mogart is up to 11th from 18th starting position. So those chasers really moving forward early, being very aggressive. And speaking of aggressive, here goes Kwame Scott for the lead.
See if Scott can make it work. Can't quite get it done at the line this time. Burrell will lead lap number 12.
Now, what you're going to see here is Kwame's going to go to the top. Okay, maybe not, because what I was going to say is Ethan's going to try to take that outside defensive line. Now that he's burned those tires a little bit, he can afford to run that top groove and force Kwame to battle a car that's got the momentum down the straightaways. So Kwame's going to have to beat him entering the corner, and you can see if Ethan can just keep Kwame side by side with him like that, he'll beat him up off the corner. That'll allow for Ethan to hold Kwame back and force him to use his tires a little bit more. And I think kind of help Tate Lytle along right here behind them, because you can see Tate in the draft of Ethan Burrell trying to help that 37 car along. He'll have that big run going onto the straightaway. Can Kwame clear for the lead here? No, not quite. Tate's going 3 wide for the lead.
Yep, Tate going to dive to the inside, not going to probably be able to hold on and make it work coming out of the corner. Scott's going to have the momentum.
Bold move by Tate. Both of them go around Ethan Burrell, who had shot around them to the lead at the start of this run. Already seeing the tire wear kick in on that 37 car. Also battle for 4th. Cameron Rich going after Scott Crump. We've seen Crump have that long run pace over the past couple of weeks where that 51 car really comes to life on lap 40 and 50 of the run. Cameron Rich has been more of that short run car that can really dominate for the first 30 or 40 laps. This week, though, it looks like Scott Crump is kind of playing that Ethan Burrell hand, a little bit more aggressive to start the run.
I've been back here watching your Shift Esports Fords, David, and I wonder if their tire wear is starting to wear out a little bit too. They've been running that high lane as well. They've stalled out just a little bit. Bayuk's been able to get around Weeks, but has not been able to really close in on everybody else. But they're up to 11th, 13th, and 14th now. So
yeah, they've gone around somebody. I couldn't tell who it necessarily was, but what they have done, you know, and for a couple of chasers like in Delicato and Bayuk, what you're going to want to do is give yourself as much track position as possible. You know, you're not going to be able to drive all the way to the lead from 30th in a race with this much talent, right? You're going to have to stall out somewhere. And for these guys right here, 11, 12, 13, they're going to need to now pace themselves, prep for that long run, and then work their way up after the pit stop, after that first caution, when it eventually does come out, if it eventually does come out, because they've already put themselves behind the 8 ball by qualifying poorly. So they're working their way up. They're using this first run to be aggressive as opposed to trying to take it conservatively. It's a good strategy, but if they don't start taking care of their tires soon, they may lose a lot more time than the 3.5 seconds they've already lost to Kwame Scott up front.
And Ethan Burrell continues to fall. He just got passed by Scott Crump and Cameron Rich. He'll fall back to the 5th position and be closed in here soon by Nick Massey, who just got around Chris Wright for the 6th position.
He didn't start off with the fastest pace like Ethan Burrell did. He chose that slow but steady pace, and he's been wrapping the white line all the way around the racetrack, and Nick Massey now turning some of the fastest laps on the track.
Tate Little heavily pressuring Kwame Scott for that race lead.
And these guys, I think, are going to be nose to tail pretty much the rest of the season. Kwame Scott, Tate Lytle, as Tate's kind of looking for the lead here. These two are going to be the, you know, side by side, next to each other, nose to tail, the rest of the way. 8 points separate them. Tate has the advantage at the moment. I envision that by season's end, they will not have gotten strayed far from one another, and you know, they're racing really tight right now, and it's going to continue the rest of the way. Oh, looking at it, Scott Crump might be reeling him in a little bit.
I think right now Cameron Rich is just kind of hanging in there with Scott, letting him do the work and tagging along.
Yeah, and that's very... No, go ahead.
I was just going to say they've definitely put a big gap between them and Ethan Burrell.
They have. And that's something that as Tate's going for the lead right here and Cameron Rich is going for 3rd, that is the kind of thing at Atlanta that you can do. You can let someone else, you know, show you how to enter the corner, and you can stay behind them without, you know, powering it into the corner, wearing out your right front tire nearly as badly. Tate's going to take the lead.
Yep, Lytle to the lead. Rich did not make the pass for 3rd, but Crump and Rich are there.
Scott Crump up to the back bumper of Kwame Scott. Kwame, the regular season champion, has not quite had the same amount of luck that he had in the regular season in this playoff run. In fact, I think he was our winner in the COT car at Atlanta.
Yeah, a lot of that early season success definitely came in the COT car, and then it translated a little bit to this Xfinity car once they made the switch, but then it was just more consistent runs that kept him up top during the regular season, and now he's been solid through the playoffs, but Tate and Nick have just been so strong that his lead has kind of fallen apart after the reset.
Also, what's falling apart is his lead over second place Scott Crump. Crump's going underneath him right here, washes him up the track just a little bit, and their side-by-side battle is going to allow Tate Lytle to scoot away.
Cameron Rich also going to try to take advantage of that as well. He'll dive underneath. He's got third away from Scott.
Big for Cameron Rich, too. He needs to be in front of that 99 car because that's one of the 3 drivers ahead of him, and Rich is only 20 points off the lead.
Nick Massey just cracked the top 5. He just got by Ethan Burrell.
Dom's pick there, Nick Massey. He's, oh man, he was loose there in turn 3. Good to see these Xfinity cars loose. So often I see just how tight they are, and guys struggling with wearing that right front tire. Hopefully it's a little bit loose here today. Though that right front's definitely wearing and hurting these guys, especially the ones that ran the top lane early in the run. See Chris Wright falling back pretty drastically, and I'm willing to bet he's kind of burned the right front off of that 95 car and it's gone to the tight side.
Curious to see here if Crump and Rich kind of work together again to try to close this gap that they allowed Tate to get out to while getting around Kwame.
Doesn't appear that they're going to try to do that. Cameron Rich is going after second place.
Yeah, as soon as I said that, Cameron took the dive to the inside.
Interesting. Nick Massey just went to the top for the first time all race that I've seen him do that. So maybe Nick Massey has an idea of when you want to start running that top lane. When are the tires going to allow you to do that? I would think if you can handle it, you should be trying to run that bottom for the entire run.
May have just been something experimental too, just to see if he could have made up a little bit more time on those guys. It looks like he's kind of gone back down to the bottom now as well.
What it's worth, he ran an identical lap to Tate Lytle that time by, and he ran the top in turns 1 and 2. So maybe Massey just trying something out, seeing what's up there. But Tate Lytle is just in another zip code right now. He is shot away. And Seth Rawls having a bit of a moment there. His tires are definitely old after zooming up to the front from 29th. He's fallen all the way back to 21st.
Going back to these 3 that are still continuing to battle. Matthew Weeks, Garen Turner, and James Heater have been together for about the last 15 laps or so.
Turner's held that 8th place for the whole time here, and he's been able to manage it. Quick replay on Seth Rawls, and I think he just pushes up the track and starts to overcorrect, get a little bit loose, and makes a really strong save. Weeks' car is coming on now, though. He's one of the ones that's been able to save the tire, and we've seen that out of him the last several weeks, which, but, he's really been on it about saving tires and saving his stuff for the long run. Unfortunately, it seems like he just lets too big of a gap get between himself and the leader. He's already 4.5 seconds behind. Now that his car's starting to kick in, he's running laps, comparative to Tate Lytle, but he's not going to make anything up because Tate's obviously so good at saving the tire and running on the long run. Kind of look through the field. The guy I'm really impressed with right here is Jared Mogart. Man, he is up to 7th from 18th. He has cleared all of Weeks, Turner, and Heater. Nick and Delicato's the first car behind that group of 3. But Mogart was able to bypass them several laps before Indelicato. And he was driving it loose off of turn 4. He's still sideways. Delicato's now battling Trey Holmes. That is for 11th. I believe he's got it. Move Nick and Delicato up to that 11th place. He's running this top groove too. He is firmly planted up there, running it every lap. Matthew Bikes right on his tail. And this guy's trying to go around Trey Holmes. Trey's been bottom feeding the whole race. Dylan Thomas and Joe Francis side by side right behind them. Looks like the bottom is working for Trey, but it's not quite enough to get him around these two shift cars who've been running the top and have a pretty good idea of how to maintain. Back here, Ty McIntosh, Cooper Johnson, Gavin Hibbs, Chris Wright, and Robert Hill all battling in a small pack for about 20th. Wright's fallen off. He started in the top 5.
Yeah, it says he's lost 19 positions now as they go by him. Robert Hill will make the pass for 22nd.
The guy who's lost some ground is Kwame Scott back to 4th. But the guy who's not losing ground right now is Cameron Rich. He's running Tate Lytle down. Last time by, got Tate by about a tenth of a second. The 47 car really starting to come alive here in 30 some odd laps into the run. Yeah, last 4 laps, all in the green.
David, would you expect like a 2-stop race here today if it stayed green?
Yeah, I think so. If this thing is 133 consecutive laps, you'll probably do 40 to 50. We'll see guys come down and try to divide this thing up into thirds. The fresh tires will be pretty strong, I think, but they wear off quickly. We've seen that with Ethan Burrell and Chris Wright. So it depends on how far you can go on fuel, right? If these guys feel that they can make it to lap 70, then they will. But we saw last week that guys were running out at 67 at Nashville. Nashville's a lot more off throttle time than Atlanta, so I tend to believe that we'll be seeing guys coming to pit road here in the next 10 or 15 laps. So I'm wrong. These guys might be trying to make it a one-stop.
There might be someone that tries it. Who knows if it works out or not.
The way these ERSCA races have gone this year, whatever we say about pit strategy and fuel windows and all that in the first half, just throw that right out the window in the second half of the race. It'll go away completely. Because the one place we thought we wouldn't ever have a fuel race, we did in Daytona, and then everywhere else has been, oh yeah, we'll have a fuel race, and nope, cautions breed cautions at the end of the race, and it's all over. So battle for the lead's heating up. Cameron Rich is all over the back bumper of Tate Lytle. In fact, he's going to drop underneath right here on the front straightaway and try to take the lead over. Seth Rawls has gone to pit road. He is the first car down to try to get that fresh rubber.
Rich going to look inside here. Might be able to get it out of turn 2.
Nick Massey go to pit road? Nick Massey's first car off pit road. Massey trying the short pit strategy.
Completely opposite of what we saw him do last week, where he tried to stay out as long as he could.
Yeah,
one of those few cars that tried to make it on one stop.
Remember that Chris Wright is his crew chief normally. Chris is out here on the 95 car. And you see Massey already having to give time back right there, but you having to check up behind Gerald Campbell. Another guy gone, all the shift cars are going down pit road. These guys have calced it out probably in advance. This thing goes green. We want to be on pit road 36, 37. I envision that they presume, the shift cars presume, that they're going to go long the next 2 runs. They're going to take care of their stuff a little better. And they burned it up. They used their short run here at the beginning of the race, and now they'll probably plan it out. We'll go 40, 50 laps the next 2 runs. And we'll have a better result because we were able to pick up the track position after qualifying poorly. It has opened the pit window, though. I think we'll keep seeing guys trickle down pit road.
Here comes Rich again. He's going to try to the inside of Lytle. Couldn't make it work last time. Looks like he's going to get it this time.
And through 3 and 4 by Cameron Rich. That'll get him the lead and the bonus point that comes along with it. Thus far, I think Tate Lytle's on pace to get that extra most laps led bonus point. That one's a long way off, and then halfway, that's after a pit stop. So these guys can't even be thinking about that. And you see this foursome has broken away from the rest of the field because Nick Massey was the 5th place car. He's now sitting 5th place on track, but he's a lap down. And he's coming, too. He's going to unlap himself very quickly here because these guys are well off of Massey's pace. Massey's running 32.8s, and these guys are running 34.2s.
Could that have been, I know it would be a long stretch, but could that been a play by Massey to maybe try to set himself up to win that halfway stage, knowing that these guys are going to have to pit here soon? And so with them having to work their way back through the field, he might be putting himself up front.
Yeah, it's an aggressive call. It's the kind of call that I'm absolutely going to make if I, find myself looking for additional points. You see Massey's going to go to the top here and just try to drive around all these guys. But, when you do that, you're not saving your tires. So Massey's not trying to save his stuff. He's expecting maybe a caution or, for this thing to end up going green, and he'll short pit once again later on. But I mean, it's certainly a call, and you're going to gain a lot of time, but these guys are going to be able to run you down in a hurry once they do go to pit road. Ethan Burrell, Andy Trupiano now on to pit road themselves. Tate's starting to struggle a little bit. Cameron Rich starting to pull away.
Yeah, Scott Crump looking for a crossover move there, trying to take the second position away.
3 Toyotas and a Chevy up here in the top group. Then Matthew Weeks is 5 seconds back and struggling in a pack with Jared Mogart. They're busy letting guys go that have fresh tires. That's in Delicato, Rawls, Bayuk. So yeah, that second group now struggling with that, and it's allowed this first group to get away by an additional second or two.
These three are getting a little aggressive here between Kwame Scott, Scott Crump, and Tate Lytle.
Yeah. Kwame now jumping all over Crump after Crump tried to get it past Tate. Tate now running the top of the racetrack too. And you see the continued blinking issues for Tate Lytle. We had mentioned those in the pre-race.
Scott's having some too.
And we've seen Massey blink in and out as well. So a bunch of the contenders for this race having some connection difficulties.
Here comes Scott Crump.
Crump down pit road. That may signal the rest of the leaders it's time to go down pit road. I think 45 was my kind of best estimate, right? Because then you go 45, you go to 90, then you go, 43 more, 50 more, something like that to get to the end. So kind of dividing the race into thirds at Scott Crump right here. And I think that's maybe the best thing to do. But, we're seeing guys stay out longer. We've seen guys short pit it. I mean, I think Massey was in as early as lap 33.
Here comes Cameron Rich.
Yep. So Scott Crump pitting signals that it's time for the leaders to go down. Rich heads down pit road. Lytle and Scott stay out.
Yeah, Bayuk and Delicato just went by to unlap themselves.
Right, and you'll see the kind of... This is setting up to be just a brilliant strategy race. We got the short pitters. We've got some guys going long. We've got some guys dividing it up directly into thirds. We'll have to see. See, Ethan Burrell driving around Scott Crump right here. That may be a position Ethan can hold on to because Ethan only has a couple of laps fresher tires. But that being said, look at how quickly Scott Crump gets to the throttle. He's going to be able to take it away. And the power of fresh tires right here is unmatched.
By the way, David, your math was on point tonight. 45 would be a third of the way through the race.
For the lead, it's only two of them battling for it. Tate Lytle and Kwame Scott are side by side, and Rawls just went around both of them on the outside.
Which obviously means Scott's not coming to pit this lap.
I don't think so.
And if Tate was planning to, he can't now.
Nope. Kwame Scott leads that lap, so continuing to battle. These guys are battling like Bill Elliott and Alan Kulwicki at Atlanta in 1992, trying to be the one to lead the most laps. Richard Lafferty onto pit road. You just see the power of those tires zooming around Trey Holmes and Joe Francis up there. Those guys have stayed out there third and fourth on the track right now. Kwame Scott, Tate Lytle, 1-2. They are the first two who have not pitted. Now, yep, Tate's going down pit road, slid it sideways, but he's all right. Cooper Johnson, Robert Hill have also stayed out. Gilberto Javier stays out so far. Dusty Dewar and Michael Goodman staying out.
So I would expect to see Kwame come down pit road this lap.
Right, he needs to. He needs to not lose that ground to Tate. He's not coming, though.
Oh.
He will have the freshest tires in the second run. And now it's a battle, I believe, to get to the halfway point. Halfway, lap 68, just like it was last week. 67. 67. Just like it was last week. Kwame Scott's not going to be able to make it to 67. He's going to have to pit before then. And here he comes now. Nope, maybe not. Man, he fooled me. Oh, there's the caution. Whoa! So much for the strategy. Well, so much for the strategy race. And it being a, separating out the field. So, I'll re-rack it here. On the lead lap are, without having to take the wave, did Gerald spin without hitting Dylan, or did Dylan get into it? No, Dylan got into it. There it is. Yep. Dylan spins Gerald, and into Cooper Johnson, nowhere to go. And that is the caution, number 1 on the day. On the lead lap that will be able to come down pit road and take tires with the rest of the field. Nick Massey, Bayug, and Delicato, Crump, Burrell, and Cameron Rich. Tate Lytle has been trapped 1 lap down. Same for Matthew Weeks. Same for Seth Rawls, a number of other cars. Jared Mogart will be on the lead lap. Oh, Lytle will be on the lead lap as well. Mogart and Lytle both have to take the wave around. There we go. Kwame Scott alone among his peers. The guys going for this race win. You see Nick Massey's definitely coming to take tires here, so the short pit does work in Massey's favor, though maybe not quite as well as it could have. Worked out really well for Trey Holmes, Robert Hill, Gilberto. Wesley Crump's going to get a lot of track position back. Michael Goodman's going to be in the top 10. So Scott Crump and Cameron Rich are going to stay out. They're going to be 1-2. Then it's Holmes and Trey Hill, or Trey Holmes and Robert Hill. 4th and 5th. How about that? Not what I would have predicted, that's for sure. Matthew Weeks is still showing a lap down. He might be even a wave around might not save his race. Joe Francis had just pitted. He had been up there with Trey Holmes. One thing we are going to absolutely have to look out for here is tire spin on this restart. Also, by my eye, Sorry? Yeah, just like that. Hank Steinmiller's right there in front of Scott Crump. That's why I thought about it. Yep, right here, start of the race. This took out 5th and 7th qualifiers. Wesley Crump's car jerks to the right, slides right in front of Steinmiller, and both he and Steinmiller go through the grass. And got you envision, only 100 laps to go now, or only 80 laps to go. Guys are going to be a lot more aggressive on that gas pedal. I've seen plenty of big wrecks in the front straightaway at Atlanta on iRacing. $80 laps to go. I started to say 100, but there's only 80 to go. Also looking at it, we're going to give 19th through 33rd the wave around. Right here. Ton of guys praying for a caution. And with that tire spin, you might just get it.
You said it earlier, cautions breed more cautions. We'll see.
How about Trey Holmes up here in 4th? Robert Hill up in 5th. Gilbert to Javier, series debut up in 6th. Wesley Crump after that early spin, he's up to 7th. Michael Goodman's in 8th. Good run for some of these guys.
Dallas My Hand in 9th.
Dusty Dewar there, he's running the Jeff Green paint scheme, but he is in 11th. And you've got the shift guys, Bayuk and Delicato. You got Nick Massey, he'll be on the lead lap with fresh tires. Ethan Burrell's on the lead lap with fresh tires.
Ty McIntosh is in the top 15.
Here we go. Base car is off. Scott Crump goes, and there's the wheel spin, but Javier gets out of the way. Front 5 or so zoom off, and then it's a snarling pack behind. This is pretty devastating for Tate Lytle. He really needs a caution. Cameron Rich going for the lead. Yeah, but he has got a couple of laps older tires than the rest of the field, and he has no track position. So Tate's going to need a caution to get back in this one. There he is. Points leader. Likely not going to be able to pick up those stage points. Only 12, 13 laps to go until the stage. And he's all the way back in 20th. Cameron Rich, Scott Crump, Kwame Scott, the top 3. They have pulled away quickly from Trey Holmes in 4th. Still a snarling pack back about Matthew Bayuk. Bayuk works his way into 9th, and Delicato trying to get around Gilberto Javier for 10th.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
You got Ethan Burrell right there as well.
Yeah, he just closed in on Chris Wright, who's holding down the 11th position.
Ethan's going. He's doing the same thing he did on the start of the race. He's really pushing hard.
Yeah, but this time he's down on the bottom instead of on that top side. Still going to wear those tires out, but maybe just not quite as bad as if he was running that high side.
Let's put a reminder out there. Only 5 sets of tires in addition to the ones that these cars started the race with. Many of these guys have already used 2 sets. A few of them would only have put 1 on, like Kwame Scott. Cameron Ridge does have the same tire level that Kwame has, maybe a lap or 2 older.
There was almost a wreck right there. Ethan just slid up, I believe, in front of Wesley Crump and shoved it in between Indelicato and Crump, and somehow they didn't wreck each other.
It's no time for Ethan Burrell. He knows it's time to get into the points. He's there now in 10th, but he needs as many as he can get, especially with Tate Lytle kind of not having the best run here. As Massey trying to go out to the outside of Robert Hill. My Hand is up into 4th now. My Hand's shot forward in this run. They're side by side from 4th on back. Give 5th to Massey. I will say, watch, Trey Holmes will end up driving around these guys later on because he's saving his tires. But that's not what these guys are racing for, right? I mean, Massey and Delicato, Bayuk, they're all trying to grab these stage points, try to get a little bit of an edge on Tate Lytle here.
Absolutely. They're being aggressive right now because they can smell an opportunity. Which is why it's 800ths between the front 2 right now, and these 2 might be battling it out hard for this halfway point win here.
Yeah, you think these guys don't know how crucial that halfway point is? Just look at how Kwame Scott's sticking with Cameron Rich right here. These guys do not even have an ounce of mind towards that longer run that might come after this halfway point. These 2 need that every advantage they can get over Tate Lytle, the way he has performed in these playoffs, and even the way he's performed against adversity like he's experienced today. you know, Tate was able to overcome that same type of adversity to win Darlington.
Put it in perspective, Cameron Rich 28 points, Matt, coming into the night. Kwame Scott 8. So these would both be big for both of these guys.
And now, but Tate Lytle is 15th. He just passed Wesley Crump for 14th. Tate could get into the points. He is motoring through this field.
I was going to say, if you don't think Tate Lytle's up on the wheel right now, having that thing to the floorboard, trying to get through these guys, you're wrong. 'Cause he's going to try to sneak in the back half of the time.
The people on the floor below him at the hotel got to be careful that Tate doesn't smash the gas pedal through the floor. Tate is on a mission right now. He is just blown around Ty McIntosh for 13th. He is continuing to move forward. And here comes Kwame Scott. Took the lead right away from Cameron Rich. Great job here on the 3-wide multi-cam. Got this big battle for 4th between Myhan, Bayuk, Massey, Burrell, and Delicato. And it seems like there's a bit of a Shift Esports team up, but going against Nick Massey here, where Massey can't really steal 4th and drive a forward. These Shift cars trying to keep him back. Also, I believe Crump has about 3 laps on his tires more than Rich and Scott. He pitted just a little bit before they did, so his tires are just a little bit older. And that's contributing to him not being able to keep up with those guys where he could earlier in the run.
Oh, that was close.
Matthew Bayuk almost gets spun by Massey. As it is, he's going to go for 3rd in the 29 car.
Going after Myhan.
He got to 13th, but he's kind of stalled out there. Here, we're coming to 2 to go to the stage. Can Cameron Rich get back at Kwame Scott? Can Nick Massey get any more spots?
I think Nick and maybe Ethan could potentially get around Dallas Myhan here for one more. I don't know much more after that.
It required a Herculean effort as Massey now to the bottom of the racetrack, but he has not been able to make a pass down there. And likely Myhan trying to hold these guys up a little bit. And Tate's now feeling the effect of burning those tires. He has quickly started to fall back here into the clutches of Gilberto and Trey Holmes once again. Tate's going to kind of resign himself a little bit, trying to stay out of this pack just in case there's an incident.
Nick got Dallas. I don't know if Ethan's going to be able to get there in time.
Yep, I think that's next lap here, coming to 67, so this is it. Kwame Scott's going to win your halfway point. The battles are for 3rd and 5th.
The line, I think Nick got it by a nose there for 5th.
Yeah, and Rump gets Bayuk, so only 7 points for Matthew Bayuk there, as opposed to the 8. We'll have Johnny Eckert go ahead and give us a update when he can. The race control always does an amazing job.
It's still a big loss there for Tate. I mean, obviously he can still come back and try to win this thing, but 7 points to Massey, 9 to Rich, and 10 to Scott.
Yep, not the end of the world for Tate Lytle, but the first time we haven't seen him maximizing those points, that are available in the middle of the race. He's been very, very good about that. Which has enabled him to catch Kwame Scott's 20-point lead to start the playoffs.
And honestly, it was nothing Tate did. It was just unfortunate timing for him.
Mm-hmm. Because that was the time. That was when everybody was ready to come down pit road. Kwame was going to be well behind everybody in the picture right now. And I think the wear on Rich and Crump's tires are starting to get to them just a little bit, because the pair of them had pitted and then come back out on that long run, and that's why neither of them seem to be particularly able to keep up with Kwame when they could on even tires.
Massey underneath Bayuk here for 4th. Looking to try to get under Crump for 3rd as well.
And Delicato has gotten around Ethan Burrell. He's starting to work his way into this top 5 as well. Myhan's sitting right here in the group, and they're looking 3 wide. Bayuk's looking 3 wide up top.
Yeah, this is an aggressive group here from 4th on back.
that caution Tate Lytle's going to need, and all those guys who stayed out, they're starting to get run down. Seth Rawls is about to go a lap down. Those guys are hoping this group causes that caution. A couple of chasers in here could be impactful to the points, and then also they're on the strategy that is unfortunately the one that got affected the most by that caution timing. Scott Crump on older rubber, showing how powerful that outside line is if you can wrap it well enough. Nick Massey has not been able to get around Crump. Robert Hill goes around Dallas Myhan. Garen Turner sitting in 10th. Three guys we haven't really talked about in terms of top 10s this season, in Myhan, Hill, and Turner. They're all just right there, battling with these chasers.
There you see Seth Rawls going a lap down. He'll move out of the way to let this massive pack go by.
There by Rawls. Because that was going to really inhibit probably both Crump and Massey's entry to the corner if he had stayed on the bottom right there.
Kwame, your race leader, has pulled out to a 1.56 second lead over Cameron Rich.
It was a really close battle between the three of those guys, and this has given Kwame that slight advantage that he needed. Not only did he take that the halfway points, but he's jumped ahead by 1.6.
I don't know if you saw that, David, while we were talking. Bayuk pulled out to try to make it a three-wide battle from behind Nick Massey. He got really loose and almost lost it going down to that bottom lane.
Yeah, this car very twitchy on the throttle. You got to be careful with swinging the steering wheel. You can lose the car in a hurry. Bayuk able to corral it, but he is going to lose a spot to Robert Hill, who has jumped up into 6th.
Nick Indelicato threading the needle there, squeezing in between Nick Massey and Scott Crump. He'll jump to the 4th position and look to take the 3rd spot away.
Yep, Indelicato now jumping towards the front. Indelicato kind of smelling blood in the water a little bit with the Scott Crump kind of holding this his group up. We do have the stage breakdown courtesy of Johnny Eckert. And Kwame Scott, Cameron Rich, Scott Crump, Matthew Bayuk, and Nick Massey were the top 5. Also getting points were Myhan, Ethan Burrell, Nick Indelicato, Chris Wright, and Garen Turner. There are 10 points for the first in that group, and then 1 for 10th place.
Robert Hill was looking to try to make a bid at the top 5. Now he's faded off just a bit. See if he can get himself back in this battle.
Massey to the top. Massey's been very comfortably, a bottom feeder, a white line only kind of guy this whole race. Now he jumps top side. He's going to try to shove Scott Crump by Indelicato. He's definitely got a little more grip after having run that bottom. You can see how that car kind of carries a little more speed in the center of the corner, and he's able to really get that run off. Problem is he doesn't have anywhere to go with it.
I think that's the same move Indelicato made, and then threaded the needle between the two of them, that being Crump and Massey, to get into that position. Now he loses it back as they go to the top side, and Robert Hill looking to the inside of Indelicato.
Massey's going to have to go to the outside of Scott Crump. I don't see another way around Crump, the way that in Massey's challenged to the bottom a number of times, but he's going to have to take that third option up near the wall and then try to get between Crump and the wall so that Crump can't use that top lane momentum to seal Massey off. There's still a long way to go in this race, still another pit stop at least. And here you go, Massey up way to the top of the racetrack. He's going to have a bigger run on Crump down the back straightaway. But he needs to take it to the outside. He can't jump inside here, but there he goes to the inside. Maybe he'll have enough speed. Doesn't look like it. Crump's going to be able to hold that. I know that racer in you wants to take that open lane, but you almost have to shove Crump off into the next corner a little faster than he's going to want to go.
That splits everybody up again, and Delicato will go to the outside and try to use that line to get back around Nick Massey.
You can tell this whole group is being held up by Crump. I mean, Rich is now, a full second and a half ahead of these guys, and I really think these guys could really sing along a little bit better if they could just get around that 51 car. But he's not doing anything wrong. He's running his line. That line is the middle groove. He's able to keep enough advantage up there to maintain against moves to the bottom, and the guys on the outside aren't quite quick enough to get to his outside before he gets off the corner.
I think Delicato just kind of gave him a little shove, letting him know that they're feeling held up behind him. He was up on the back of Crump there before entering the last corner there in 1 and 2, and he's there again here in 3 and 4.
Trying to bump him once again, and what you saw is last time Massey cuts to the bottom, and Delicato jumps to his outside, and now he's the one challenging Crump, and Massey's on the outside. And if Delicato can't get around Crump, then it'll be Massey once again to the outside. But and Delicato clears up. He'll get Scott Crump right there. Moving Delicato to 30. Finally found a way around. And Myhan just about spun in turn 1.
Maybe not, Scott. Oh, they did wreck. Someone's around.
Yep, they wrecked. That's going to be a caution. That's the caution that a bunch of guys in the rear of the field needed. I want to say it started with Myhan. Yeah, he's the one sitting over here in turn 1. And you know who got into him was Ty McIntosh. Myhan just tried to lock it down, man. That is a helpless feeling. And Myhan and McIntosh are on the same team. They work well together. Oh, Matthew Weeks is going to get caught up in it too. When you've lost the handle of the car at Atlanta, I mean, he probably should have gassed it up and tried to get to the inside so he didn't run into anybody, but there were so many cars behind him. Oh, looks like Weeks isn't going to get any damage, though. I think there was some net cut there. You can see Myhan just got on the binders, tried to lock it up. And Ty McIntosh had absolutely nowhere to go. And then James Heater also taking a pretty big hit in this. Everybody on pit road now for tires and fuel. Nick and Delicato's going to have to be really careful not to speed. He has a long way to go on pit road to get up to third here. That was Tate Lytle's best friend. He'll be on the same tires as Kwame Scott now. Same for Cameron Rich. Kwame, Rich, Crump, Massey, and Delicato off pit road in that order. Delicato loses 2 spots. He has that way further back pit stall. Quick look at the running order. Tate Lytle's up to 11. Peter has retired the 18 car from this race. And I'm looking at the front bumper of Matthew Weeks, and I do not see any crinkles. I think he got extremely lucky. Get away from that wreck unscathed. All right, Pat McIntosh jumped to the infield care center. Let's bring him in and see what happened and what he saw. Ty, it's David in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
What'd you see out there, man? Looked like you ran into the back bumper of your teammate.
Yeah, I don't know. My brain just went dead, honestly. I thought that he was going to be able to hold it up a little higher, and by the time that I was trying to get the car to slow down, I didn't want to make a dangerous adjustment because with how old those tires were and how loose we were already getting, I probably would have killed it. But I guess looking at it in hindsight, I should have. Just kind of killed both of our days. It's frustrating. We were running pretty good, playing the strategy game. I don't really do Atlanta that much. I've actually first league race here, so trying to learn and learned a lot. Learned that don't let yourself go brain dead, truthfully.
I got you, man. And You seeing you the rest of the season next week at Talladega?
Yes, sir. All the time.
Alrighty, well we'll see you next week, and good luck to your Shifty Sports buddies out there. Looks like they're fourth and fifth, so they should have a good chance at this one.
Oh yeah, they're doing great.
All right, thanks, Ty.
Thank you.
All right, looked to me like Scott Crump got tagged for speeding on pit road. He has fallen all the way to the tail of the field. That will re-rack the running order as Kwame Scott, the race leader, Cameron Rich sitting in second. Nick Massey is third. Nick Indelicato will be fourth, and Matthew Bayuk fifth off pit road with the Crump penalty. Robert Hill sixth. Garen Turner seventh. Chris Wright eighth. Ethan Burrell ninth, and Tate Lytle has cracked back into the top 10. He'll be fifth on the outside lane. I'd watch that 56 car in this restart.
It's going to make it close. We have 48 laps, 47 probably or so when we go green. So potentially you could maybe stretch it and make it on one stop. But I feel like there might be a caution or two here before we get to the finish.
I tell you what, if this thing goes green, they will all make it. They'll be sliding around. They will be upset with the tires on those cars. They'll make it. It won't be fuel that's the culprit here. Green flag's back out.
Garen Turner did not get a good start. That'll stack up that inside row.
Allows Tate Lytle to pick up another spot or two. And Massey got a really good jump. He's going to be able to clear Mick Indelicato, and he's going after Cameron Rich. The teamwork over there at Rubbins Racing Motorsports to allow Massey for that good restart, but Massey's not able to capitalize on it. The outside lane too powerful as Rich to the top on Kwame Scott. That was an interesting move from Cameron Rich, man. He went top to bottom on Kwame, presented like he was going to go to the top of the racetrack. Kwame drifted it up just a little bit to try to block him off. Cameron drives it down to the bottom. He'll take that bottom lane, the preferred line, to save tire, force Kwame up into the outside. It was a veteran move by Cameron Rich. He's been doing this for a while, you can tell.
Still couldn't make the move pay off, though. He'll fall back into that second position. Kwame Scott will take the race lead once again.
Cameron Rich, though, I'm very pleased. Although he may have just smacked the wall. I couldn't tell if he did or not. But if he didn't, he's pleased. He made Kwame Scott use the outside line for defense, forced him to run his tires a little bit. And what we've seen is if you run that outside line early in the run, you wear your tires out a little bit, that car will go backwards in a hurry after 10 or 15 laps.
Just right, just went from outside to inside to get around Nick Indelicato.
Yeah, we've seen with that with Chris Wright, though. He qualified up in fourth. He's got a very fast short run car, but in the long run, that car tends to fall off in a hurry. A snarling pack of cars back here. Michael Goodman, Dylan Thomas, Dusty Dewar, Wyatt Nadel, Andy Trupiano all together. I think Johnny Thomas is in there as well. We haven't said his name all day. That's what Scott Crump's having to battle through right now, trying to come back through the field. Same for Hank Steinmiller, who started up in the top group, but he and Wesley Crump got together on the start of the race.
Hey, David, just putting this out there, thinking that strategy might have changed. Remember how a couple off the initial start of the race and then the last restart with coming to the stage point, Ethan Burrell was very aggressive on the initial start. Him and Tate Lytle have seemed like they're almost content to maybe sit back and ride here just a little bit to save tires, thinking that this might go all the way green to the finish.
Watching Chris Wright fly through this field, watching Garen Turner fly through it, and I'm sitting here having deja vu. We watched Ethan Burrell do this. Ethan did this on that first run. He drove from 7th to the lead, just straight up there, no problems whatsoever. Looked like he was flying way faster than everybody else. So that's what Turner and Wright are doing right now. If this thing goes green for a solid 10 more laps, those guys are going to be right back on behind Ethan Burrell and Tate Lytle in 10th and 11th. Just like that. It won't even be happening that quickly. I worry about Kwame Scott, too, here, because he is putting some serious distance on Cameron Rich, but I know Cameron Rich and I know Nick Massey. Those guys are not pushing their tires whatsoever. they're anticipating a green flag run here, and if the caution comes out, they know they'll be able to push it hard at the pace that Kwame is pushing right now. Kwame's about to have to battle with his teammate here. Chris Wright has zoomed up to him.
And if you're Kwame, maybe you let him go right now, not worrying about, there's still 40 laps left to go in this race.
All right, and that's the thing that Nick Massey, Cameron Rich, and Delicato, Burrell, and Tate, they're all very concerned with, and I just don't see that from these two Rubbins Racing guys right here. Even in Delicato's kind of playing some defense against Garen Turner, and I'm like, Nick, why are you doing that? You need to keep that car on the bottom. Save these tires. You got to be better than Kwame Scott late in this run. He's going for it right now because that's why he pulled out to the big lead.
Well, and that could be a make or break moment in this playoffs. Kwame's still running good enough to stay in here, but if he starts to fall through the field here and those 4 guys capitalize on that, it could be bad news for Kwame here.
And you got Chris Wright there. Wright's trying to make a little bit of a statement. I can get up there and lead this race, but we've seen Ethan Burrell jumped up and led this race early on in the going. Actually, there might be a wreck on the back. I saw someone go flying towards the inside wall. It was Dustin Dewar. He saves it.
Still green, so we're all right.
I'm really hoping this plays out because I just want to see those guys who've been saving their tire. Cameron Rich, Nick Massey, want to see those guys get paid off for their patience. It's already starting to happen. Just by getting Chris Wright in front of Kwame Scott, it's cut the lead almost in half here. You're seeing Garen Turner, his progress is stalled in the top groove. Tate Lytle sitting a comfortable 10th.
And here comes Kwame right back after Chris Wright. He let him lead a lap or two, and now here he comes back after that race lead.
And we'll see this 95 car fall like a rock through the field, I think. He burned his tires off extremely hard. And just that little bit of battling, and it's one of those where if I was Kwame, I probably would have told Chris, hey, they're wrecking. Oh, big hit.
Caution.
Gilberto, Dylan Thomas, Steinmiller's going to get just a little nick. Crump's got some damage, but yeah, I believe it's Jared Mogart getting the most of this one. Gavin Hibbs there on the bottom of the racetrack. And never mind, right now Chris Wright can come in, get tires. He'll be able to run it hard. This was a 3-wide battle between Hill, Lytle, and Mogart. And Lytle... Ooh, man, I think Mogart actually reacted to Tate going flashing in and out a little bit. Oh, man, I can't tell if Steinmiller got damage on that one or not. He might have cleared it. Yes. Mogart getting clobbered right there by Gilberto Javier, whose debut will end with a DNF, I believe. Like Michael Goodman snuck through that one unscathed. Might have to go on board with him. That'll be Goody's, or that'll be Carlos's co-host for Thursdays in ERSCA, which starts on Thursday.
Good.
And also, we've got some developments at the front of the field. So,
And Nick Massey stayed out.
Nick Massey and Ethan Burrell both staying out here. I don't believe that was the right call at all. Goody getting this one woed down. We've seen Goody struggle a little bit with dodging wrecks in front of him here, but that was a marvelous job. Kwame's going to be first off pit road here, followed by Wright. Rich disappeared. Is he? There he is. Yeah, he's there. Massey and Burrell there. Tate Lytle's 9th, so Lytle will have the fresh tires. I don't like this call from Massey and Burrell. They're expecting cautions, breeding cautions here, and you needed tires. There was enough time there where tires are going to be king. Those guys are going to fall back pretty hard.
Well, I was just going to say, David, when we go green, it's going to be about 30 to go. Even if those guys do run super hard for 10 laps on those tires, which we see is kind of the max, those guys that save even for 10, 15 laps can still blow by them and pick up positions.
Right, and it's not even going to matter because these guys already have the 10 laps on their tires. Now, you know, when you're seeing a Chris Wright who drove up there expecting this late caution, and I think that was maybe, you know, that was his idea. He wanted to be as much track position as he could, get as close to the front as he could, because he knows if it goes to a late race restart, he's going to have the speed to be able to go for it. So if I'm Chris Wright, you know, now you've gotten the strategy you wanted. Massey and Burrell need the tires. They need to be able to compete at the same level as these guys they're going to be racing around.
No, I totally agree. I was saying if you pit, right, those guys like Rich, Massey that were using that strategy of not going hard, you could wait 10, 15 laps, let those guys that are going to go hard off the start, and then if you have a 10-lap stretch, you know, that's when you start to make your move and try to go for the win.
Right. You know, I'm looking.
Totally agree that you need tires.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I'm looking at Tate Lytle. He's got some front nose damage. I'm looking back through the race to see where that one occurred. It occurred on the restart, last restart, Tate. Looks like he... there, got into Chris Wright.
Yeah, you can see if you look at the 95 car, the back,
Yep.
the rear of the 95 car does have some damage to it.
I wonder if that's affecting Tate at all. Probably isn't, probably visual damage, but it isn't helping, that's for sure.
All right, lights out on the pace car, which means we're getting ready to go green.
Now I think we'll see a little bit more of the aggressiveness, but I think we'll also see a couple of guys, like you had kind of mentioned, keeping consistent laps and consistent pace for those first 10 laps. There are going to be a group of guys who are going to continue to do that until there's less than 10 laps to go. But eventually, it's go time. You're going to have to fight for this win. Is it now? I don't know. Nick Massey and Ethan Burrell seem to think that it is time to fight for the win. They're going to have to fight like hell to keep their cars up there on those old tires.
Oh, Burrell spun his tires.
Yeah, that's not going to do it. Oh, they're going to wreck. Oh, no, they're not. Cameron Rich with an incredible job to keep that 47 car going straight. You know who went by him on the outside there was Tate Lytle.
You know who's going outside Massey right now? Kwame Scott and Nick Indelicato.
Massey's going to be regretting not going down and getting some tires here as those two go flashing by on the outside, two of his championship rivals. No way for Massey to combat that, and making me further question why they would have done that. You know, Massey kind of making these bolder calls as his crew chief goes flying by him on the inside. I wonder, the presence of Chris Wright up in the booth, was that kind of the difference? Because I think Chris would have told him to go down and get tires. Chris went down and got tires. So Massey to 4th, Garen Turner to 5th. Tate is battling here with Weeks and Joe Francis for 6th.
Here comes Garen Turner. Massey continuing to fall through the pack here.
And Turner will jump to 4th, so a really strong run by this 20 car. Definitely his strongest run of the season. And will Nick Indelicato let Kwame Scott get away? I don't think we've really seen what that 0-1 car has in terms of raw pace.
How about this? Just throwing it out there. What about if Chris Wright, he's driving aggressive, but not over the edge right now. What about if he come up here and steal a win? That would kind of shake things up a little bit.
Chris is a former ERSCA winner, multiple different seasons. He can definitely get it done. He knows how to get it done in these cars. I'm just watching Nick Massey and Ethan Burrell drop through the field. I can't believe they did that.
Sure, they'd probably be right there with you right now, David.
It's our picks too, man. Those are our picks. Falling through the field.
Meanwhile, Carlos, this guy, is starting to set sail.
Carlos looking like a genius. We're over here watching our guys. What are you doing? It's the curse, Dom. It's the curse. The broadcaster's curse. Got the producer over here. He's got the producer's.
I don't know,
producer's
David.
magic touch. Because Cameron Rich always wins.
You're definitely feeling left out here because if it continues to finish like this, Carlos and I have each picked 2 winners here in the playoffs. So.
There's one thing I know about this ERSCA season. It's that this race ain't over yet, man. Yeah, you've done a marvelous job of picking these winners, Carlos. I'm telling you, he's got the producer's magic touch. Every time I pick Kwame, that seems to be like his worst race. So here comes Wright looking on Indelicato fending him off. And if there's anything we know about Indelicato, it's that he likes to keep that car at a certain pace throughout the run, and he'll hold people up to keep that pace. And then once the tires, wear a little bit, that's when that 0-1 car starts to go. I'm not seeing that same aggressiveness that we saw from him at the start of the race that got him up from 27th to the top 15. He's running the bottom. He's trying to keep the tires on this car so that he can go after it from laps 115 to 133. Right now, Chris Wright's not thinking about that. He's trying to go after second place. And he's got it. Tate Lytle's into 6th. Underneath Joe Francis, Cameron Rich follows him through. That horrible restart for Cameron Rich, man. Just ended up trying to dodge people spinning their tires. Winding up behind Tate Lytle, who is the one guy he needed to finish in front of. Kwame Scott's just in another zip code right now, though, man. He is throwing down some really fast lap times for this portion of the run.
Can he hang on, though, for another 25 laps? That's going to be the real question.
I don't know, man. We haven't really seen Kwame jump to this lead. We saw it last time, and we saw it when Cameron Rich had older tires. And we got to hold it for 24 more laps. I think he can do it. Now he's got Chris Wright up here blocking Indelicato as well. That's a team car blocking another championship contender. So Indelicato is likely to make short work of Chris Wright here, but just that little bit of time loss may be the difference in Indelicato hunting Kwame Scott down and not. We've seen
into to the inside of Chris Wright for second. Can't quite get there this time.
We've seen what a car on the outside can do to hold up a whole group. We saw it with Scott Crump, where he just held up an entire group of cars for the longest time. Indelicato trying what I was kind of suggesting about Crump earlier. You got to work your way to the top and get them from there, where they can't hold that momentum up on the outside lane. But all this fighting has allowed Kwame to drive away to over a second.
Nick's going to get him here out of the corner.
Chris drove that middle lane with the car right to his outside, too. That was him just trying to work Indelicato over, force him to earn it, and give Kwame as much breathing room as possible. We've also got Matthew Weeks, who net-coded through a wreck earlier. He's up here in 4th, and then you've got Cameron Rich, who just went by Tate Lytle. I wonder if that damage is starting to hurt that 56 car.
Weeks almost just spun it out there, diving hard off the back of Wright to try to cut underneath him. Let the car regroup, looking to make the pass.
Only still a 10 faster than Indelicato after Indelicato got through that group. Weeks now clears Chris Wright, so Wright starting to fall back already here. I don't envision we're done with cautions, though. Here comes Cameron Rich on Chris Wright. This is for 4th. Darren Turner's falling back. Wright now starting to fall back. Right, that time Nick Delicato was a tenth faster than Kwame Scott. He's got to do that exact lap 10 more times, and he'll be there.
With 10 to go.
With 10 laps to go, right? He's got 20 laps. He made up a 10th last lap only. Other than that, Kwame's been ahead of him. It's pretty. Okay, one time. I think this time though he's actually got another good lap in. Yep, he's another 10th faster than Kwame that time. Delicato starting to reel in the leader. And Weeks and Rich, they've fought their way through this snarling pack. Tate Lytle, Matthew Bayuk trying to get through Turner and Wright, who've kind of been the aggressors late in this race. And then Scott Crump and Hank Steinmiller are 9th and 10th, and that is very noteworthy. The two of them have fought through a lot of adversity. Crump was one of the guys who had to take the wave around, as was Tate Lytle. Steinmiller had to take the wave around and was wrecked on lap 1. He's up in 10th, and he's under the weather tonight. So marvelous comeback by Hank Steinmiller at 63 car. Not giving up on the top 5. Neither is Tate Lytle as he goes around Garrett Turner. Delicato is closing. The lap he and Scott ran the same lap time. And Tate Lytle almost wrecks it off of turn 2. He's gonna save it, but he might lose the spot to Matthew Bayuk in the process.
That would be disaster for Tate.
Oh, he's gonna do it again. Almost gets into Scott Crump. And flashed out while Crump was correcting the 51 car. That time Delicato got Kwame Scott by about 1/4 of a tenth. So not much progress being made by the 0-1, but there is still some progress. Taken out of the top of the racetrack is Bayuk trying to hunt down 5th place from Chris Wright. All right, that time Delicato got him by a 10th. He's down 7/10 of a second for the lead. There goes Bayuk on Wright. Think he's going to clear him here? Maybe not.
Ooh, that was close.
Oh, he's going to slide up in front. Bayuk, clear high, 5th place for your Carlos's other Thursday announcer. Though Bayuk is a full-time, I believe, member of an ARCA team. So he's in and out in availability and often is running late on Mondays.
Kwame turned it up there a little bit. We got a 1/4 back. Yep. He's lost some time here on this last lap.
Delicato really running it hard. He's trying to time it out. 14 laps to go, coming to 13. And Delicato's the one with the go here. He's the one who can get him. Yeah, that lap got a 10th.
Well, almost a 10th and a 1/4. He closed big time that last lap.
0-1 is coming. And if they start battling, Matthew Weeks, Cameron Rich, they could be right there pretty quickly if the two of them start battling side by side. Because you can see how quickly it packs up behind the slower car if someone tries to run the top and they start dicing back and forth.
It's going to be close to another 10th again this lap.
Yeah, Delicato's got the run here. Now down to 1/2 a second is Delicato. He's cut 1/2 of the lead away. In 8 laps. And remember, we said he had to get a 10th a lap to get there in 10. Yep, it's definitely in Kwame Scott's draft. Can Nick Delicato get there and pull off a surprise win? Qualified 27th, remember.
This lap, just shy of a tenth that time.
About half of it back. 4.45 seconds, and Kwame has now chosen the top lane. Try to take Indelicato's line away. Yo, Indelicato handles that dirty air.
Cameron Rich just got really loose coming out of 2 there behind Weeks. He made the pass, though, it looks like, for that 3rd position.
Rich now, as Weeks getting to the back bumper, that 47 off the corner, but the two of them have ceased battling, and definitely I would want to be single file trying to catch up to these two if they start battling.
Caution!
Oh,
Garen Turner.
I was really looking forward to a nice little battle for the win right there, man. Ooh, boy. Turner loses it from a... Oh, yeah. If anyone can see 18th and 19th right there, those two guys will tell you exactly what's going to happen for the whole field here. Garen Turner was running in the top 5 for most of the day. He had been one of the more aggressive drivers and fallen back through the field, and it looks like he and Joe Francis get together. It takes Richard Lafferty and Trey Holmes with him. Man, I was looking forward to that battle for the win, though. That was going to be fun.
It was going to be close. It was going to be a good one down to the wire.
Yeah, because Kwame was going to have to change lanes and run the top and force Nick to make some bold moves, and I think their battling was going to allow Rich and Weeks to close up, and it was going to be a 4-car race for the win, and now it's going to be restarts. Yeah, I think we did there. Could still be a good finish. This group is always good at putting on a show, but darn, man, I was looking forward to that one. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you call me Scott, Nick and Delicato stays out. No, man. Did no one learn? Did no one learn? Why? The 2 shift cars stay out. Nick Massey made it a half a lap with 10 laps on the tires, and that was 20 laps. Oh, let's... Oh my goodness. Well, he'll have to pit, I think. That car is heavily damaged. But there's Kwame Scott heading off pit road. He'll be first off. And 3rd. Rich will be 4th. Weeks 5th. Crump 6th. Tate Lytle 7th. Because Garen Turner will have to pit. So Bayuk and Indelicato. That is 4 chasers who have stayed out at Atlanta. I am at a loss. I don't know. Why?
Sometimes that's why we're up here and not down there, Dave. I know you like to race very often, but...
Oh, yeah. I've made stupid calls before, right? Like, I've definitely made my fair share of dumb calls. But, man, they went by Burrell and Massey. I just don't understand.
Who knows?
No, maybe Nick and Delicato will get it to work out for him. And, I mean, I won a race one time just by staying out with no tires. The cautions fell my way. But this is Atlanta. There's so much more room to pass than maybe like a one-group track like Darlington. Yeah, and we're far away from the green-white checker. We're 7 laps to go.
I can tell you who's going to be aggressive in these next 6 to 7 laps. Those cars back there in 17th and 18th.
Yep. I think we'll see those guys firing it 3 wide, trying to get some additional points. I'm sure both of them are kicking themselves. Similarly to how I envision Nick and Delicato and Bayuk will be here. And these guys go streaming past them, and they can't do anything about it.
Got to watch, too. We saw Burrell spin the tires last time. We'll see if either one of these two do it as well.
Is Turner staying out? Garen Turner? Yeah, that's certainly a move. The very damaged number 20 car.
Maybe that might be the one car to watch on this restart.
Yeah. Cameron Rich getting boxed in by him, that would be rather tragic, I would think.
Cameron Rich would really have to be frustrated with restarts if he gets held up again.
I mean, if I'm... You know, this is where you could, if Cameron Rich fires off, right? Normal time. And Turner's car doesn't go as fast as Rich's, and he hooks Rich into the 99 car. Or Turner. Rich hooks Turner into that 99 car. I mean, he'd be forcing the admins to make a judgment call. Like, what was he supposed to do? There's a guy in front of me. But you could take out one of your championship rivals with that.
We're too good for that. That's not going to happen.
I also believe Scott Crump's mad about this. He's trapped in there behind Garen Turner. So he's on the mic right now, I believe, shouting about the 20 car. Don't think the group is particularly happy all around. We'll see what happens on this restart. I think it can only be chaos. And if anything, it's Bayukin and Delicato's best friend having that chaos up there.
Depending on how this goes, this could work out really well for Kwame Scott.
I think it's gonna. This is the dream. Pin your primary rival behind a slower car, and
as long as Bayuk doesn't spin the tires, though.
that would be the kicker. Here we go. They don't spin him. Rich trying to go to the middle before the start hits. He gets there on Turner, but he's still a car length behind Kwame, and it looks like Indelicato didn't even get going all that well.
Gonna force it in 3 wide here underneath Kwame.
Rich! Here comes Rich. Rich
There he
spins
goes.
Kwame.
They're wrecking. Rich in the wall.
Oh my goodness.
Kwame. No, that's Hank Steinmiller. No caution. We're still green.
Scott Crump's got the lead. The 2 shift cars are holding everybody up still. Right through to second. Here comes Tate Lytle and Kwame Scott. And Kwame and Tate get through. And they're gonna be like 3rd and 4th behind Rich and Wright and Crump. Wright and Crump going together for the lead.
2 guys with no playoff considerations at all out front, battling it out. Only thing that's left to do is win this race between these 2. Nothing else really matters at this point.
Cameron Rich hit the wall again. And I have to... Cameron Rich messed up, man. Oh, there's the wreck. There it is. That's going to be the caution.
Oh.
Yeah, Cameron Rich flipping over here. And we'll go back to this restart. It's Matthew Weeks involved. Trey Holmes involved. We'll go back to this restart because... yeah, he did, but the problem is that Cam needed to spin Kwame out. Kwame cut across his nose, and Cam gave him room. With 2 laps to go in a championship battle, you can't be cutting brakes there. Cam's going for the win and tried to cut him a break and ended up wrecking himself here. We need even more. Though this is the caution wreck, because Cam hits the wall, slows up in front of these guys, and gets bumped into by Trey, and it's on from there. And Rich going upside down into the catch fence. Kyle Hanshaw, Rawls, Lafferty, Talon, Francis. Johnny Thomas, I think, is involved in this. Seems like these races have been pretty predictable of late. They boil down to the most wild possible finishes.
Guys, we're cruising 4th place.
Oh yeah, Tate Lytle, points leader, of course. Carlos, can we get the restart there? Okay. Quick rundown while Carlos is grabbing the restart for us. Scott Crump, the leader. Chris Wright second, Kwame Scott third, Tate Lytle fourth, Bayukin and Delicato 5th and 6th.
All right, I just want to put this out there before we get to the end of the season, and I look like one of those people. But when we were making our championship picks, I picked Tate Lytle to win the first race, and I really wanted to go with him to win the championship. And I decided not to try to change it up, and now I'm really regretting that decision.
Yeah. Right there. Yeah, I really think Cameron Rich needed to... He needed not to give so much room there. He did back out of it here. He just, you're going for the win. He's got the lane, the open lane, and here comes someone in front of you. I mean, he checks it, and checking it tightens that car up, and it sends him up into Matthew Weeks. Kwami's got to be thanking him. I mean, that's a gift from the heavens right there that Cameron Rich didn't just spin him out. He comes right down onto Cameron. And in fact, it might have even net-coded Cameron up the racetrack.
Tate was pretty lucky to get through there, too. Yep, right in front of him.
We don't have it, but if anybody's looking back on this, go back to the onboard of Johnny Thomas and watch Goodman go sneaking through this wreck. He did a wonderful job of it. Also, he caught my eye there because he was right up behind Tate. Zishan Dura is up to 8th. Having a really strong run in the 10 car, though. I think that thing's been damaged. Yeah, Goodman through the wreck. He's up to 13th. Or 12th, rather. I think we got time. Pit lights are still on the pace car. Check this out. He makes a great move here. We got Cameron in the booth as well, so we'll pull him up. Look at that. Woo! Attaboy, Goody. Cameron, Rich, it's David in the booth. You got me?
Hey, yeah, what's up?
Hey, this was not the way we wanted to talk to you, man. Looked to me like you got out of it there. I couldn't tell if you got out of the gas or if you net coded off of the guy cutting in front of you there. What'd you think of that?
The 99 ended our championship. I was in the gas. He came down and hit me in the front, and
Man,
it's probably a little bit of net code, but you know, Kwame races like that pretty regularly. I mean, he took a guy out last week, so I don't think it's the most surprising thing in the world.
we've watched it all season, man. I recall Martinsville as well, so you know, I don't know that it's over yet, man. You can easily go out there and win some more races, but it was real close. The hole was there.
Yeah, I was 28 coming into this race, and I had to basically get stage points and win to be in it still, because I think he's going to finish top 5 or so, even with his damage. But Kwame just didn't want to race there. He just wanted to take my line and wreck me. So I apologize to everybody that was in that secondary wreck after I clobbered the wall because my car was broke. But I mean, when you race like a piece of shit, you're gonna, you know, whatever. Sorry for my language, but it's just it's something. It says something when this race goes, you know, halfway green, and then people start wrecking for no reason, and then the supposed chasers, who are supposed to be the best of the best, can't even hold their lines, and they just take each other out like that. So that might be my last race this year. I'm not happy at all. That ended my championship, and we had way too good of a year to be just taken out like that, and I just don't get it. I don't know. Maybe Kwame can go win the championship he just so desperately wanted, but that's just bullshit.
If it makes you feel any better, he just got suckered out of that restart by his teammate. Good luck for the rest of the way, Cam. It is Talladega next week, so anything can happen.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Scott Crump out to the lead. Tate Lytle out to second. Hell of an interview there by Cameron Rich. Tate's going to have a chance to win this race. They're coming to the white flag, and Tate's closing in on Scott Crump.
Yeah, I'll leave my comment. I'll leave my comments for Cameron's. Hey, white flag's out. They're going to race it back. They'll be fine.
Yeah, Zishan was in the top 10, though. Tate Lytle coming after Scott Crump.
Yeah, I'll focus on Cameron's comments here in a minute. Let's finish this thing out. 3 wide back there. Ethan Burrell, Nick Massey going after as well.
Yep, and Chris Wright putting pressure on Tate Lytle. Tate got a little tight out of 2. It's going to be Scott Crump winning the chairgate in 200 out of turn 4. Lytle second, Wright third, Kwame Scott fourth. Tate will hold the points lead. I think after all that, he might have lost it to Kwame, but it's going to be close. Wyatt Nadle's going to come home 5th, Burrell 6th, Massey 7th, and Delicato 8th after that inexplicable pit call. Michael Goodman with a 9th place finish, and Wesley Crump finishes 10th. Who did? Yeah, Kwame ran fastest lap of the race last lap, but it was all for naught. He'll finish 4th. He'll be the ire of Cameron Rich, which that's not the first enemy Kwame's made this season. And Scott Crump's going to bring it home in all the chaos. How many races have we had that just ended in complete chaos like that this season? It's been scheduled, essentially. Tom, you said you had thoughts on...
Well, I was going to say, I'm just trying to think here. I want to make sure I say the right thing, but I think Scott was one of those guys that was really having trouble at the beginning of this season. So to see him pick up a win here late in the year and sticking with it, good to see for Scott. Congrats on the win here tonight. But on Cameron's comments, you know, it is unfortunate. I think he has a right to be angry there, but what I would tell Cameron is to stick with it. You know, like you said, we are going to Talladega next week. Things can happen, but also if you come in here, you're a contender that can run up front, and also you can make it hard on Kwame to where you can make sure he doesn't win the championship. I'm not saying necessarily take him out or pay him back. You can race him where you can affect his races and make sure that somebody else wins the championship other than him.
When you race aggressively, you tend to make enemies, and in a playoff format or a chase format, you really don't need to have an enemy decide, now's the time to pay you back. And especially, you know, when it comes to a championship rival like Cameron Rich, and you've got Richmond coming up. Rich is a former winner in this series at Richmond. He'll definitely be able to run up front in that race, and I will see. I think Richmond might have some fireworks behind it, especially if you've got Cameron Rich angry, which I don't think I've ever heard Cameron Rich angry.
All I'm saying is, I know Cam, it sucks now, but you know, you got a week to decompress a little bit, come back. You can contend and really make a difference in this championship, whether you win it or not.
Yep. Well, let's pick up Chris Wright here in his one-off. He ends up third. Chris, it's David up in the booth. Third place and a little one-off for Josh Adams. How does it feel? You were really aggressive out there tonight.
Yeah, we were trophy hunting tonight. We struggled at the start. I realized I was having some trouble keeping the right sides on it, so we got ourselves in a good spot with the caution and when it came out, and then from then the runs were just long enough for me to be able to work my way back and ultimately have a shot for the win. Didn't know until about 20 minutes before this thing I was going to be running it, and jumped in, and this thing's looking for sponsorship. Josh trying to get some sponsorship on this car, so I got to step up tonight, and I think I gave out 95, maybe the best run it's had all season.
We've talked to Josh a couple of times. He won a race a few weeks ago. But either way, I mean, were you working at all with Kwame there? I mean, I know you guys kind of battled for the lead on one of those longer green flag runs. I was just curious whether that y'all had any team orders, or if you went up there and passed Kwame, you know, he was kind of shouting at you not to.
No, there were no team orders. You know, I chose to race. I got asked to race. I'm out here to race. You know, I mean, I'm not going to try to put him in a bad spot or anything like that. Him or Nick, either one, or the other playoff guys who aren't my teammates. Like, you know, we saw Tate there at the end and whatnot. I'm not going to put those guys in a bad spot, but I'm going to race the hell out of them. It was a lot of fun getting to race some of these guys I haven't raced in quite a while. The setup was really on edge, wearing the right rear out, and had a lot of fun doing it tonight. Wish we could have won. I think without that last yellow, I might have been able to race Scott, but I did a bad job on the restart. Driver didn't do a good job on the restart, so.
That was going to be my next question, was the restart, but it looked like you just spun the tires a little bit, and that was a plague the whole race, it looked like. But you know, from there, give us some shout outs here, and you know, will we see you again, or is Josh hopping back in this 95 car?
I don't know. We haven't discussed if I'm going to be back in or not. Like, I would love to run again. You know, it was a lot of fun, but I know these guys are also getting ready to, you know, I was very aware of who was in the playoffs there, those last couple of restarts, who to, you know what I mean? I felt like I could take advantage of some of them if I got to their outside and put them in a, you know, I got to the outside of the 01 a couple times down on one, and didn't try to slide up into anybody, didn't try to put them in too terrible of a spot, but it is, you kind of got to be aware where they are, but at the same time, you can't really race any different or else you're going to run around at the back. And as far as shout-outs, everybody at RRM, Josh Adams, Nick Massey, Kwame, they did a good job tonight. I know they were frustrated they lost some points there at the end. Nick ran out of tires, had to save a set there because he only had one set left. He had used a set early in the race, had to stay out and fight back there at the end, but Kwame was up there probably without all the yellows, wins the race. And Tate didn't get stage points, but I know he ended up getting good points at the end, so it probably leveled out. Good title fight for you guys coming up, I think, and it was awesome. I'm glad I could get out here and come up here and talk to you guys again.
Awesome, Chris. Well, congratulations on the third place run. Good to see you back, and hopefully we'll see you again either some of the rest of the year or maybe next year.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. And shout out to Johnny Thomas, too. Johnny runs a great league, and have a lot of fun with Johnny and racing with these guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris, and yeah, congrats on the podium.
Thanks, guys.
That's Chris Wright. Now let's grab second place finisher Tate Lytle, who I believe, Tate, correct me if I'm wrong, that's your fourth consecutive second place run in the playoffs.
How many did you say?
I think 4 in a row.
3 in a row. I won race 1 and then 3 seconds in a row.
Top
And
twos.
And I've lost points the last 2 weeks, so that, that goes to show you how stout this field is.
Yeah, man. It looked like the caution kind of didn't fall your way early in the race, and you were battling back the whole way.
Yeah, that caution came out at the wrong time. I should have waited another 2 laps, but hindsight, it'll get you every time. But yeah, I was a lap down 21st, and I tried getting up there to get, a stage point or 2, but I could only get up to like 13th, and then at that point I had killed my tires trying to get up there and was just trying to hang on, and thankfully we got some more cautions, and those cautions at the end kind of fell in our direction and made up for the stage points. But I think I had Kwame by, I think I had him by 8 or 11 points or something like that, so I feel like me and him are going to be neck and neck in a Dega, and then Massey came back for 7th. We might all be like within 3 points after this week, so it's going to be a duel to the finish these last 3 weeks.
You were not running from the most optimal of conditions tonight. Did you notice it out there on the track?
Yeah. I'm in a dorm room right now, running on Wi-Fi on my old setup, which I have experience with this setup, but it's been 2 years since I've touched any of it. It's literally been in a closet since then. So it was kind of a learning experience. I don't know where that pole time came from. That lap didn't even feel that good. I was like, there's no way that's on pole. There's zero chance, but kind of lucked into that. And yeah, running on university Wi-Fi is not ideal, so I'm glad that's the only time I'll have to do that.
Yep. Well, that's a mighty impressive job, and even fighting back from the adversity. Did that damage that you got from bouncing off of Chris Wright on the restart slow you down at all?
I had like 9 seconds. I didn't feel like it slowed me down too much, but it definitely didn't help my case. And I don't know what it looked like for you guys, but on my screen, I was like half a car length behind him. But my internet was so lousy that I still hit him.
Jeez.
But all will take second after, how that went, and just gotta. I doubt they're watching this week because they're out there on your guys' Eastern time zone. But shout out to Dad if he is watching. Shout out to Brent Wednesdays Gone By for being doing what he does. Go check him out, daysgoneby.com. Shout out to Chairgate, and I think they sponsored the race. And shout out to you guys for watching me blink for 2 hours and somehow come home second.
Well, big congratulations on the run, and Talladega next week, so good luck.
Thanks. At least I'll have good internet.
All right. We'll see you next time. Congratulations.
Later, guys.
Now, let's bring up race winner Scott Crump. Scott, it's David in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
How about that one, man? It seemed, you from speeding on pit road, I think, to winning the race on a crazy late race restart. Did you really expect that one when you were restarting 25th or wherever it was?
It was like P29, but yeah,
Oh, man.
it was definitely speeding penalty. And I thought I was done. I was like, maybe I get back to the top 15. I got back to almost like 18th or so, and they all wrecked in front of me, so I got like 4 positions there. And then I restarted like P15, and then I got inside the top 10. Another caution came out, and there on the last restart before last, I followed Cam. There was a bunch of slow cars on the inside on older tires, and they touched. And the middle just opened up, and I went right on through them somehow.
But at the start of the race on that first run, it did seem like you had speed to run with that top group of guys with Tate and Kwame Scott and all those guys. So I certainly don't feel like this win was undeserved at all for you. And were you hoping that maybe that the caution at that first run didn't fall so unfortunate for you, where you had to fight back from another bit of adversity?
Oh yeah, that caution put me in a bad spot, and luckily I was just good enough to hang on to P3, just holding that top line. I was 8 lap older tires and just holding on for dear life. I know if one of them or 2 of them got by me, I was just going to sink back fast. And then they got to my outside finally, and the caution came out, and so I held on P3, but then I speed, so I just destroyed all that.
And you were showing off the way to hold people back. It seemed like those guys were having a really tough time getting around you. So a really good job there in the middle part of the race, and then obviously the end just falling your way. It must feel good to, after kind of a chaotic and maybe somewhat disappointing season, it's been good to get that win.
Yeah, definitely. I think I pretty much had top 3 speed all night. Let's say I was just trying to run the bottom a little bit, trying to save tires, and somebody get a run on me, get on side of me, I could protect. I could run a little bit harder and just hold on to that position and run down the leaders again, and then I'll try to go back to saving.
Right, and you seem to be one of those guys that was saving the whole race. So, one win for the patient guys, I suppose. But any shout-outs for us here before we send you off?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout-out to Jimbo at Stay Tuned Sports Podcast. Hopefully he was watching tonight. Give a shout-out to my team, Lulan Racing. Most of them didn't have good luck as normal for them. Let's say Andy had bad luck, Heater had bad luck, and I think Wesley had bad luck there at the end. But also shout out to my grandfather, probably watching down in Florida right now. And a shout out to y'all guys at 3Y TV.
Well, congratulations, Scott. I was looking back, and this is your second win of the season. So good work. We've talked to you a couple of times, but rest of the way, you feeling pretty confident? You going to be up front at Talladega?
I mean, I'll be out front. I don't know if I'll finish up there. I usually don't end up too well. I think last year in the chase, I finished second to like a real close battle. I think it was Kendall Noah player just beat me out. That was a real fun race. So we'll see. I mean, I've had top 5 speed all this chase or whatever. I think my worst finish so far is what, P7, I think, in this chase. So
I can confirm. So yeah, congratulations, Scott, and good work out there. We'll see you next week.
all right, thank you.
Race winner Scott Crump. And with that, the Chairgate 200 is done. Just 3 more races left before we crown a champion.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting here. These next 3 races, a very, very tight points battle. Have not got official word on the points yet, but we'll update you next time we come on the air of what that stands. Or you can go look at the ERSCA page on Twitter if you're more urgently awaiting. But it's going to be interesting here, these next 3 races, to see what happens between these 3 guys.
We do have word. It is 2 points between Tate and Kwame, and then 2 points between Kwame and Nick Massey.
So 4 points between the
4
top
points between the top 3. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Starting at going to Talladega as well. So, going to be wild next week at Talladega, but that'll be all for us tonight. For Dom Santina, Carlos Acosta, 3Y TV, I am David Westergreen. You've been watching ERSCA, presented by Belly Up Sports. That was the Chairgate 200. We'll see you next week.